Praise the Lord. Summer's almost over, so enjoy this last weekend. And speaking of, this weekend at Mass, we hear from the Gospel of Luke where Jesus begins to tell folks to be prepared and to store up their treasures in heaven. And then he says something very interesting. Wherever your treasure is, there is also your heart. This is a great reminder to evaluate the things that we treasure. This doesn't mean that things that are important to us, that should be important to us, aren't important to us. What Jesus is saying is that we should always be mindful to what is to come, more specifically, Him. Now, when evaluating the things that we treasure, we know the things that we should treasure and the things that we shouldn't. We kind of already know the things that should be higher on the priority list, but they're just not for whatever reason. And it can be hard to think about reprioritizing some of these things because we like it so much. But Jesus calls us to make Him our number one priority. Why? Because whatever we treasure, there's our heart. And Jesus wants our heart. Now, if you're like me and you're thinking, yikes, it's going to be hard for me to reprioritize and put Jesus further up in my priorities over some things, then you're like me. But we remind ourselves, our second reading from the book of Hebrews in chapter 12, we reminded of Abraham, who was asked to sacrifice his son, but he had the faith to do it. His priorities were in order. And then it explains how he did it. It even asks the question, how did Abraham have the faith to follow God's invitation to sacrifice his son? And it says he reasoned that God could raise Isaac from the dead and give him back to him. Abraham thought it through and he reasoned, this is what God's plan might be, because I put my total faith in Him. And I trust that He knows what's best for me. So this weekend, as you prepare your heart for Mass, think about what priorities might need to change. And remember, Jesus wants our hearts. And wherever our treasure is, there is our heart. Have a good weekend. And if you're still watching, shout out to Ryan Myers and the Ryan Myers Band. This song, Wherever Your Treasure is one of my favorites. Hope you're doing well, man.
There is your heart.